Hi guys, and welcome to this CSS Button Hover Effect video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, here we are. We're using a Bootstrap 4 framework here, and we've just got a basic setup with a basic template. And what we're going to do is we're going to add some hover effects to our button. It's got a slight hover effect on there, but we want to make it a little more dramatic and have some fun. I mean, here's the default primary button for Bootstrap 4. We're using the free Brackets text editor in this video. And Brackets is free to download from brackets.io. I'll put the link below this video if anybody needs a text editor. And these CSS styles that we're going to do today will also work with WordPress. If you've got a custom CSS box, or if not, you probably need to create a child theme, but they're pretty universal. So let's get started. So here we've got just a regular primary button, as I said. So if I inspect it, here it is. Let's just take a look at it in the brackets here. Right here. No, not right. Right here. And it's simple primary button. Wherever you want to put your link, where you want it to go, you put there. And here's the link text itself that says button. So I'm going to leave that as button for the time being. I'm using Google Chrome here, and I've just pressed F12 or selected an element with my mouse and right clicked and hit inspect, and it's taken me straight there with this great Google Chrome inspector development tools here. And as you can see, it's brought up the HTML and the CSS over here in the right pane. Okay, so first thing I want to do, let's change the color, background color. I'll use a color I've been using on a different site. And I want to make the border color the same. Now I'm just going to copy this. And I'm going to go back to my Bootstrap Brackets text editor here. This particular one, we've got our styles on the actual page itself at the top here. Quite often you'll have a separate style sheet, especially if you're working with multiple pages, but I'm just going to use this one for simplicity today. So I'm going to drop down one, and I'm just going to paste in my code there. I'm going to tidy it up and save it. We may have to use the important class on some of these to force it, because at the moment that button's using the Bootstrap 4 built-in styles. So I've hit Control S to save. Let's go back to the site, refresh. That's worked fine. That's great. Alright, and at the moment, you see when I hover on it, it's turning that blue color there. Let's select the hover state here. So I've hit the little hover, and I'm going to check the hover box. There we are. There we've got the colors that it has when it wants to hover. So let's choose a different color. Let's get dramatic, and let's just change that to red. Now let's change the text color to yellow, just for a bit of drama. Don't need that hashtag in there. Okay, now let's copy this again. Go back to our brackets and paste this in our CSS also. Again, I'll just tidy it up slightly. Okay, so we've got our regular button state here. Then we've got our hover state here. Save that, Control S, back to the site. Let's get rid of the inspector. And as you can see, when I hover over it, it changes from that blue to the red color there. So that's a simple hover effect. Let's actually style it up a little bit more, make it a little bit more fun. So the button primary, let's give it some different padding styles. Let's say, well, let's do it in the Chrome Inspector so we can see what we're doing. Let's say padding. First attributes or first numbers are going to be top and bottom. Second are going to be left and right because I'm going to use two sets. So let's say 20 pixels on top. And left and right, say 50 pixels left and right. So that makes it a nice bit bigger button there. Let's make our font size a little bigger. Let's say try 20 pixels. Well, you can go a bit bigger than that. Just select this and roll up with my mouse wheel. Okay. Well, you're not going to miss that button, are you? Okay. So let's just copy what I put in there. Obviously, you can make yours however you want to. These are just ideas, demonstrations. Save that back to the site and refresh. It should stay the same. There we go. Should be able to see that a lot better. Okay, well there's a simple effect. Let's keep going. There's plenty of more things that you can do with your buttons. For instance, that transition time there, the time it takes to turn from blue to red, I don't know, it's probably about half a second. Let's make it a little bit longer. And to do that, we want to add a transition. So again, we want to put this actually in our main one, not in our hover effect. Transition duration. Let's make it a second. That's probably a little too much, but at least it'll demonstrate it. Like I say, you can do what you want. These are just simple ideas to make your default Bootstrap buttons a little more interesting. And refresh. Now you see that takes a bit longer. If I go back and demonstrate that again, if I put it to 3 seconds, you'll really see. I mean, we're not going to use this. This would be for something that people want to hover over for a while, but you'll really see the difference. You can see those colors really changing, going through the spectrum from blue to red. And when you get off, it lets go. So it's using what they call the ease in, ease out there, which is great. But obviously that is way too long. So let's go back and change that back to 1 second. All right. Okay. Well, let's give it a box shadow perhaps when it does that. So again, I'm going to right click, I'm going to inspect, and let's select the hover state. Make sure I'm on the right element. I am. Okay, and let's give it a box shadow. Of, say, I don't know. You see it's got a box shadow there now. Let's even make that a little bit bigger. And again, you can select these, just select the number itself, roll up and down with your mouse wheel. And as you can see, that's offsetting it left and right. This is offsetting it top and bottom. And that's a little crazy right there. So let's put it back down how it was. Let's put it back to about 10 and 10 and see what that does. Okay, we'll use that. Well, let's just take that. And again, we've got to put this, I'm copying it, Control C, back to our CSS. I'm going to put this under the hover state, so it only appears under the hover state. Click Save, back to the site. Refresh. There's our regular button. And when we hover over it, that little drop shadow, or box shadow I should say, appears. Getting my Photoshop terms and my CSS terms mixed up there. What I also like to do is quite often to keep buttons consistent on a site, so you're going to use this in various different places. Let's give it a width and height attribute, so if we've got different amount of writing in there, the button will still remain the same width and height. So I don't know, let's say 250 pixels. I've made this button huge just for demonstration purposes, but let's continue with this theme. So in the primary section, let's give it a height, 250 pixels. Sorry, say 100 pixels. Again, this is going to be way too big. Let's see. Try 70 pixels and a width of 250. Save, Control. Oops, what have we done wrong there? I've got no semicolon there. That will not work. Coding, if you miss bits out, things do not work correctly. Back to the site. What happens when you talk and code at the same time? Refresh. Okay, so that didn't work. The width. The width, I get my words out. The height is too short. So let's just inspect that and change the height value. About 100 pixels. See, that'll work, but we've got to change our padding. Get our text central there. So padding top and bottom, which is this first attribute here. Let's just roll it get our text central again there. That looks about right. So all I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy the whole thing again and overwrite what we've got there is probably the easiest way. Control C. I'm going from the dot, because it's a class, all the way down to the closing curly bracket there. I'm just going to overwrite everything we've got here. And tidy it up a little bit. So there we have it, and the reason I did that height and width, like I say, I made these buttons huge just so we can see what's going on here, is if I create another button, we go down to that button here, and let's just create another one. I'm going to copy it, paste it next to itself, and let's give slightly different text. Control S to save. Refresh. There's our new button. Now you see that the text is a lot wider on the second one, yet the button has stayed exactly the same width and height, which is quite a good idea for if you want consistent buttons throughout your website. Okay, a little bit close together then. Let's just give them a little margin so they're spread out slightly more. We'll do this with this again. I'm just going to give them a single attribute, which will give them a margin all the way around. Let's say 20 pixels. See what that does. There we go, that's spread them out. It's giving them 20 pixels all the way around. Top, right, bottom and left. And if I select that, you can see it, that sort of beigey yellow colour right there. That's that padding we've just added there. Alright, what else can we do? Well, let's make these kind of rounded, but let's give them a border radius. At the moment they've got a border radius. They get slightly rounded corners. And if I take spell it correctly, border radius, if I put it to 0, you'll see they've gone absolutely square, they're absolutely pointed. But if I put them to say 50 pixels, they've got those nice rounded edges there. Now you can also use percents on border radius, but if we do, we want to make this button square, so I'm going to get even crazier here just for demonstration purposes. I'm going to make that 250 so they're square. I'm not going to adjust the text for this because it's just a demonstration. And to make these buttons perfectly round, we change that pixel value from 50 pixels to 50%. And it should be a sphere or a circle. There we go. Now you've got circular buttons. I mean, you can slide that padding down if you want to. Put those in the middle. And now you've got round buttons. Like I say, you can play around with these like crazy. I mean, those are stupid sized buttons. I guess if you're trying to sell something or making a point, or you've got an emergency, that would be a good button. Anyway, that was just a demonstration. Let's copy the margin and the border radius. Let's put that back to 50 pixels. And let's just copy those last two there. Back to the site. Back up to our CSS here. We'll put it under the regular. save that. Get rid of this and let's refresh. There we are, there's our buttons back to how they were, with those nice rounded borders. Okay, what else can we add to this? Well, we could make it slightly larger on hover so it makes it look like it's jumping out. So let's go back to our CSS here. Let's add transition. Spell it right. And scale. Don't want to scale it by too much. Maybe 1.1. I mean, you can make it 2 times, 3 times, as much as you want, or you can use 2 attributes with commas separated and you can do top and bottom, left and right, or height and width basically separately if you want to, but I want to do the whole thing. And we'll probably have to add another transition element, tell it to ease in and ease out. Let's have a look, see. Let's save that and see what happens. Let's refresh. There we go, it's growing slightly, but it's doing it instantly, and I don't want it to do it instantly. So let's add a transition in the main section here. And I'll make it the same as the one above, the duration here, which is 1 second. You can do it in milliseconds, or you can do it at 0.5, or however you want to do it. And let's ease in, out. And that should make it smooth like the other transition there. Control S to save, back to the site. Now let's try it, refresh. There we go. And that's doing it quite smoothly there, which is great. Okay, about done with that really. Here's a demonstration of a few simple effects you can use on your buttons. Obviously I've made mine huge so you can see them, but you can make some, and this will not only work on buttons, it'll work on anything you want it to, divs, images, whatever. Well, images you can't change the color much, but you certainly do the hover effects and scale it and what have you. Okay, one last thing, let's just get a little crazy here. Let's make it rotate. Let's go back to our CSS, and on hover I'm going to tell it to transform. I'm going to say rotate. And let's say 360 degrees. That 360 degrees. See what happens there. That should spin around in a circle. Fresh. There you go. It's a little crazy, but it's just another demonstration of an effect you can use if you really want to. I don't think I'd ever use that on a button, but you can use that on little images and icons, and it's quite effective. And let's go back. Let's just change this duration to 2 seconds, and make sure we change it on that one as well. Fresh. There we go. And it takes it 2 seconds to roll in, and it takes it 2 seconds to roll out. So there you have it. There is a few little button hover effects you can use with CSS. Like I say, this will work with Bootstrap, it'll work with WordPress. Make sure you've got a custom CSS file on your WordPress. You may have to create a child theme with some WordPress themes. So I hope you found that useful. If you have, please like and share the video and subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in web development, take one of our web development courses below. We've got some great free courses down there, as well as some paid courses with huge discounts for our YouTube subscribers. So once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.